Okay, so I'm sure people have got, all sorts of content out there about shadow work and what it is, how you do it, and how it can help. So this is just me spamming everyone with my version. So shadow work, I think I always kind of like keep it, because it's such a dark topic. I try to keep it light. So saying like, I've got a terrible cold at the minute as well. So let's say we've got Batman, Sonic, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings. And I've put here, don't think Wicked, Oz, and most Disney films, because I actually think there's a lot of programming around those kind of things, but we'll get into that another day. But those kind of things actually separate you from your shadow, because they make you subconsciously create subconscious bias around not accepting that darker side of yourself. One example is like in Wicked, the most recent thing that's come out, and how it's separating the two characters, one into her witch self and the other in this fantasy self, and that they can't exist as one. They have to be kind of separated. So that's just one thing. But yeah, so here we've got Carl Jung. There's a few good quotes about shadow work that might just help, the unventured new people to shadow work. So until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. Harry Potter, if everyone remembers him putting on the cloak, and then obviously, through that cloak, they were able to discover a lot of secrets which they wouldn't have been able to actually unveil had they not, opened themselves up to a bit of mischief. And Batman, they think I'm hiding in the shadows, but I am the shadows, and I am the shadows. No, don't even try and do it, Mike. It's a terrible, terrible rendition of trying to do the Batman. And the other one, Shadow. Why should I apologize for being a monster? Has anyone ever apologized for turning me into one? I think this is really powerful. I think that in terms of the forgive my chair, I keep getting up, standing up and down. It's just me. So I think that's a really powerful quote, because when it comes to shadow work and understanding where it can come from, where your shadows can come from, that's a really telling quote, because it's not to say that everybody's everybody else's fault. In fact, it's very much the opposite. But at the end of the day, when we grow through life, we, in childhood, many things happen to us that we don't recognize or we don't even know about. It's just absolutely unconscious and sits within your subconscious. And it may be your environment that shaped you, it may be parents, peers, school. School's a big one. But in society, we've never been hammered with as much as we are now. We are hammered with media, we are hammered with all sorts of subconscious programming. So it's really important that we do this work. It's really important. And I share this because I feel I am living proof. I've kind of gone into this, come out the other end. But trust me, you come out the other end, but it doesn't mean you're finished. It does not mean you're finished, but it does mean you are happier. And I can guarantee that's something for myself, that I am a lot happier, I feel a lot lighter, feel like I'm in my body as well. And I think that in society, we're on our phones so much, we're processing so much, that it's very hard to sometimes feel you're in your actual body. So I've just put here as well, bear in mind, Shadow overcomes his own grief in Sonic 3 to then save himself and others, just geeking out a bit there. But I felt that had to be mentioned because the quote itself is kind of a negative in context, but he does accept accountability for his own, past. So here we've got a little bit about why not, why should you carry on, and what's the argument for carrying on and just ignoring your shadow? Well, as this drawing kind of clearly shows, you're still under the control of whatever your, negative actions or whatever you're unhappy with. Because let's be honest, you're not going to be watching this video if you're all together and you feel you're quite settled. At the end of the day, shadow work is very, intense, because you're going straight into the reason why you may have an addiction, you may have self-esteem, you may have binge eating, and you may have tried and tried and tried to, at a surface level, stop those addictions, those behaviors. But if you're not actually aware of the origin of them, how are you meant to then leave that, put it aside, and kind of stop yourself if you wish to, say, stop, watching, I don't know, certain movies, or you're addicted to, let's say, certain things, or you're addicted to certain chemicals. It may even just be something simple, just really something simple that you do on a day-to-day basis. I bite my nails and stuff. That's something I do right there for you, and that's something I'm still working on. That's really deep rooted. I do not know, why where that comes from, but that's why you continue to work on it. But many other, not even just addictions, habits, just many other habits I've discovered through this work, and it's really supported me. So movies in society can program us to think we are either light or dark in our thinking, but judging ourselves like this can lead to unconscious biased beliefs and then actions, which we can punish ourselves. So this is about identifying that, we can be led on a merry way of these kind of feelings, lower feelings, denser feelings, because we want to stay here. But let's all be honest, we know that comfort is the enemy of progress. It really is. And sometimes we need to feel comfortable in the uncomfortable, okay? And I'm sure that's a song somewhere. Comfortably Numb, that's the song, in it. So, oh no, comfortably numb is probably the opposite of what you want to say, but that's kind of true about this picture, isn't it? Conscious shadow work. So, this is, turning that light onto your shadow, and, please be aware that when you do this, the more you're in light, the bigger your shadow gets, because you are starting to expose it, and it will come thick and fast. I know people are probably thinking, I sit down and nothing comes up. If you ask yourself and be true and honest with yourself, and you ask things to come up, they will come up. So, as the character's saying here, it's okay that we can work through this together. It's about being nice to yourself in this process, because it's not necessarily going to be easy, and it's recognizing it may bring these things up, may even bring things you don't know up. For example, mine brought up an actual visual memory of something that happened when I was very young. I totally forgot about it. I went away, asked my mum and dad about it, and they both corroborated it. And I kid you not, I knew nothing of it until I did this shadow work. So sometimes it's really important to recognize that and believe in yourself when something comes up. Don't, however small, don't ignore it. Give it attention. Give it love. So we've got the steps of how to do this, if I can pick the right page. So what is shadow work and how to do it? So as you can see, it's this character here. He's sat down. He's got all these things going through his mind. All this untended to thoughts, really. It's like pruning a garden, isn't it? And you got all your weeds, and there you go, parental programming. So shadow work is recognition that we all have what we consider a dark side of self. It's those actions, thoughts that keep under a pillow at night. So it's those kind of things that you want to put away. No one needs to know those. The forbidden fruit. However, if felt unchecked and unconscious, they can develop into very being of state. So basically, probably grammatically not correct, is it? But it's about they can develop into a state of your actual being and how you are being on a day-to-day basis without you even realizing it. Whether you get angry, whether you consider yourself a hard person who doesn't show emotion, stuff like that, all these things, we should be, as human beings, we should be able to connect with others. We should be able to show our emotions, get vulnerable if we need to be. And I think we see in society a lot of showing emotion as a weak thing or a naive thing. And I think that, that is something that we are getting better at now, but we can still work on, definitely. Shadow work is not about being perfect. It's actually the very acknowledgement that we are not perfect. It's the very reason we can mask our true feelings and thoughts to others, but also integral part of our whole self. How many times have you had a conversation and said to someone, "How are you doing?" And the first thing you go is, "I'm all right. I'm okay." Or they may say it. And sometimes, how many times do you hear it in someone's voice when they say that, and you can genuinely hear it in their voice that they are not okay, but if you ask them, no matter how many times you ask them, they're not going to, really tell you the truth, are they? And then that conversation ends up flowing into some shallow conversation, probably about the weather, the kids, or something impersonable, as far away from that individual's actual whatever they were, whatever's going on in their mind. Because if someone asks you, "Are you okay?" just watch what comes up in your mind, because usually it's almost like a form of shadow work. When someone else asks you if you're okay, it'll just come up in your mind, but then just recognize what you will do. You will probably very quickly go into your mask or fall into your mask because you don't want to be true about how you're feeling. And that's why this work is so important. So 1, sit and allow your thoughts to come up. Each time a thought arises, feel the emotion, sensation in your body. Sense whether you begin to judge this thought as good, bad, or the other. Ask in quiet stillness. So that just means you may meditate. I don't like to tell people how to breathe. So I've not put in, sit there, do 4 deep breaths in, out, blah, blah, blah. You get comfortable however you need to, because you don't need to meditate for this. This is about sitting down in quiet, though, and being able to almost hear your own thoughts come in and see what your thought process is. Okay? Because how many times in a day do we get to do this? So it needs to be something you can jump into and you can do. But what I have put on 3 is, ask in your quiet stillness for thoughts that feel heavy or that your mind may consider negative to begin to come in. Because I am a strong believer that, our body, our mind, yes, it can trick us, blah, blah, blah. But I do also believe that when we give it an order or we give it something that it needs to do, it will do it. And I do believe that as soon as you bring the word negative or anything like that in, then those shadow thoughts, you probably judge most of them as negative anyway, so they're probably going to pop up. But you might find it easier just to actually sit still. Just sit still and say, "I wish to work through my shadow work," because by the time you've watched this video, you've watched a lot of other videos on YouTube about shadow work, or you even already have a knowledge of it. Your very consciousness will bring up what you need to work on, because you will it. Number 4, so let these thoughts arise. Remember if feeling the emotion, be kind to yourself and allow the emotion to move through the body. So yeah, allow those emotions to come through the body. You may need to breathe through them as well. Again, I'm not going to tell you how to breathe, but just, making sure that you really feel it. I mean, is there energy in the body? Is it, I don't know, you might have a sore foot, leg, aching in your back, something like that. And when you have these thoughts, is there any linkage to that? And breathing through them. So, if you get some tears out of the first day's shadow work you've done, you're doing an awesome job, because it is about releasing these heavy emotions out of the body. and also catching these thought patterns. Don't mind my random drawings. I'm too busy losing my actual train of thought. There we go. Yeah, this is not going to be, you didn't come here for any kind of professional video. This is literally just information on a random page, and you're listening to a random guy about shadow work. So level 6 continued. So number 1, allow. So basically these are the steps that you've just seen, but they're shortened. So it's allow, feel, ask, release, and accept. So allow the thoughts to come in. Feel how that thought feels. Ask. So this can be, asking yourself about where it's come from, where the origins of it are. It's asking, what do you need to do to release that? It's asking where might the thought come up. So you'll know what to do when the thought comes, because you'll already associate it and you'll already see the links. You'll already see that, oh, this thought came up, and every time I do that, every time I have this chat with this person, I go and do this, or I self-sabotage with this, or I only do my addictions at a certain time of the month. I don't, you know what I mean? It's about finding when and where you actually do repeat these actions. And I do strongly believe a lot of this is it's like a form of self-harm that we do, because it's an unconscious self-harm, like even binge eating as well. So remember, you are the observer of your thoughts, not the thought itself. And I've created a kind of 3 boats here. So you've got stress, pain, and loss. And imagine you're the observer and they're the boats going through. You've got the flow, if you like. And this isn't about detachment from the thoughts entirely. So it's not saying they're not mine. What it is about, and it's not about getting rid of them either. It's about letting them flow and recognizing and accepting that they're part of you. And that's what shadow work is in its penultimate thing. Accepting that it is part of you. So yeah, if you've had an addiction that you maybe feel society would say it's shameful, it's this, it's that. At the end of the day, all ideas of what something is just an idea, and then we form the judgments as society. But at the end of the day, the more awareness you bring to it, the less you'll want to do it, because you will know in yourself if it either helps or hinders your progress in your consciousness journey, your soul's journey. I'm going to stop hitting the page now. Or just your path. You will know if it's for you, and you will know if it's not for you, and you will know if it's helpful, and you'll know if it's not. And like they say, everything in moderation. And usually in shadow work, we find that we're not moderating, and bringing this in helps that moderation. So you may wish to create a visualization of this, but important to note, feeling the thought pattern, or even memory is important to allowing that boat to continue sailing and flowing. Otherwise, we might find it stuck, or repeating thoughts occur if not fully accepted. It's about letting go of the cyclical patterns of thought or actions leading from them, which once allowed them unconscious control over you. Once you become aware of the origin of thought, it ceases to have power over you. So I think that's quite powerful. And I'm going to show you these 3 pictures in a moment and explain them a little bit more. So it's a little similar to how we tell someone not to do something. Like a child, if you tell them not to do something, you know for a fact they're going to go and do it if you don't explain it to them. And then they feel more enamored to do it because it hasn't been yet explored. And that's the epitome of children, isn't it? And this is about, finding our inner child as well. To connect with your inner child, you've got to find him below all these shadows. So we've got do not touch, and then it's help yourself. So that's confused the hell out of Mr. Should we call him a fox? I don't know. It's like a dog-like fox. My drawing's been so poor lately on these videos. And then we've got, it is what it is really, isn't it? And then we've got free cookies. So he knows he's got the decision himself. Nobody's telling him what to do. He's got the free choice to explore it or not. And he's found that he's got a free set of bones over there. So he's going to go and pick a bone there with that. No pun intended. So I did intend a pun there, didn't I? So at the end of the day, this this kind of bringing awareness to negative thoughts and feelings, you know, is so powerful for you. And I don't really think that I anticipated that either. This is very, you know, I am not standing here making this video and saying I'm a professional or I'm an expert or I'm this or that. I just wish to share my heart with people and what I've been through, and share of how I've come through it. And this is through watching many videos myself, but I realise that I feel like my gift is that I like to try and make things seem visual as well. And kind of straightforward, whereas I feel like sometimes people don't want to listen to hour-long videos or hours and hours of spiritual mumbo jumbo, because the way people speak, you know, it can be quite new age and these concepts, and I want to do it in a way that brings it to the masses, brings it to people in a way that they can just understand it, almost like a lesson. And yeah, I don't also think I'm going to get everything right. I am not perfect, bit of shadow work there. My drawings are definitely not perfect, and my writing, oh my gosh, on some of these it's been interesting. I've tried to actually write it as I'm doing it, and I realised that that's just not working. So, you know, I am each time trying to refine the way I do these videos, but I am finding talking whilst showing you the visual is easier, and I will try to take pictures of these and post them if they become at all popular. If they don't, well, you know what? The reason I did it was for me anyway, and if anyone else benefits from these, that's absolutely amazing. But it's really helped me, and it's worked for me. I get up in the morning happy. It doesn't matter what the problems are. I've currently got a lot of problems, a lot of things going on. But at the end of the day, we have to start somewhere, don't we? We have to start somewhere. And what I will say is, I don't get fazed by the mundanity of life anymore. I don't get fazed by people disagreeing with me, or, you know, and you read people so much better, because the more you get to know yourself, the more you get to usually know definitely your family, definitely others around you, and just consciousness as a whole. And you will find that that newfound awareness grants you a newfound peace. And I really think that this is what the penultimate goal is. It's peace. It's giving yourself that feeling to love yourself. No matter what you've done, no matter who you are, you can love yourself and you can become at peace with yourself. So forget what society thinks of you, forget what anyone or parents, family, whatever thinks of you. This is about you, and it's really important. It's about discovering you, not anybody else's opinion of you. It's about discovering you. All right, I'm going to shut this video down because I can talk the leg off a horse, and we're in the year of the horse anyway, so I should be granted some liberties to that. All right, bye-bye.